Hi everyone, thanks for joining. It's Ray with Tarot Living. So this is really part two of tarot practice. And so the first one I was doing 2 card draws and just simply free-flowing with tarot ideas and what the cards mean and what their connections are and what their differences are. And so we did 4, I believe, on that video of 2 cards. So for this video, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, and I'm actually going to do what I call a 3-month draw or 3-month spread. And it's really simple. It's just pull a card, one for this month, one for next month, one for the month after. So it's basically the present and then next month and the month after. So it's 3 months. And I find this helpful just to give somebody a kind of a check-in as to what could be highlighted during those months. And it's just really simple, and I find it fairly effective. So I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle some cards, and we're going to draw 3. And it's going to be first month, this month, next month, and the month after. And so I've pulled 4 here, and then I'm just going to actually narrow it down. And I'm going to pull, actually I think it's those 3 right there. Okay, so this is the first month, King of Swords. Second one is the Magician card. Oops. And the third one is the 2 of Swords. So we have King of Swords, Magician, and 2 of Swords. So this is great. Well, what do we have here? We have sword, sword, and sword. So we know that the concept of air and the concept of ideas and what is somebody's truth and their ideals and what they want to put forth is going to be important to them. So it's very much about your mind and what you're thinking and what you believe and what you perceive. And that's what's going to be in the forefront of this person's, experience in the next 3 months. So the first one is the King of Swords. So for this month, if a person pulls the King of Swords, then you know that the King of Swords energy is going to be important to them. Now, it can potentially mean another person, but let's review first what it might mean for them in terms of picking up on that characteristic. So as I'm sure many of you know, court cards can mean someone else, and they can also mean characteristics that you yourself need to maybe tap into in order to accomplish something. For example, like maybe you're working on a project and you pull 3 cards about the project, and a particular card like the King of Swords comes up, and it might say, oh, you need to really cut to the chase, you need to be objective, you need to be logical in this situation. So it's a characteristic that you can utilize. So we'll first do that. So King of Swords is just that, what I said. He's a very logical guy. He's ruled by Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about, we just went through it, it's about, information and ideals and facts, and they love the scientific aspect of life and really want to deal with, what is the truth of the situation? What are the facts? Give me the information. So they can be very objective, and they can be somewhat detached, and it can, detach from emotion. Emotion is probably the messiest thing for Aquarians, really, unless you have other elements in your chart natally that is bringing in a lot of emotional elements. Aquarian energy in and of itself is very airy, and it is very mentally oriented. They are thinking, they want to communicate, they want to make society better, they have ideas that they want to put forth, they love anything that's unusual and is like the forefront of ideas. So they are, Aquarians are like the people who will do astrology and be interested in, anything that's kind of unique and is kind of like a cutting edge. So that's an Aquarian. They're very unique characters, but they are not emotionally based. So very objective, very rational, and very much into what do I think is the truth of the situation, and then wanting to put that forth. And so they can get very stuck in potentially what they think is the truth of the situation, because it's what we call a fixed sign. So fixed sign means it's not moving. It tends to be very solid in its opinion. So those particular characteristics for this person may be coming up, or what I just described might be someone in their life that perhaps they're coming up against, and they're thinking, well, yeah, I've got this person at work, and those are the characteristics I'm running up against. It may mean someone else. But if it means them, you have to look at, why do you need Aquarian energy right now? So perhaps the person is being overly emotional about some area of their life and they can't make a decision. The King of Swords can cut to the chase. He can be very, a decision maker, and he can be objective and very logical. So it could be something along those lines. It could be that the king being that, you need to be a leader. Perhaps you need to be a leader of, a group, and you need to know that using your logical, very, ordered approach is going to be really good in that situation. So those are the kinds of things I would be looking at, is where can the king, that leadership skill, but very much about, clear-cut thinking. And remember that clear-cut approach can get the King of Swords into some level of trouble where he's creating conflicts with others because he's so fixed in his opinions, potentially. So those are some of the characteristics. So if I'm looking at what's happening for this month, I'm going to be telling that person about the King of Swords. The second month is the next month, which is the Magician card. And Magician is ruled by Gemini and Mercury, technically. So it relates to Gemini, which is also an air sign. So it is all about air, air, and more air for the next 3 months. But the good thing about the Magician is that the Magician is really going to start thinking about, how do I really need to manifest things? How can I bring my ideas down into reality? So as above, so below. And that's what that means, is really taking that energy of really the mental workings and the energy that's not yet manifest, and bring it down. It's not yet manifested by the Magician, but he has the energy to actually start it and initiate it and make it happen. That's why I think if we look at, how does Mercury relate to the Magician? Remember that every manifestation starts with thought. So thought is your first step. And so what am I thinking, and how am I going to manifest? So if there's anything that's happened this month where you've maybe gone too far with your ideas, or you've created some level of conflict, here's an opportunity the month after to say, well, what worked, what didn't, and what do I need to, be perceiving and thinking in order to manifest that and bring that down to earth. Then the month after that is the Two of Swords. So we have yet more sword cards. And this card is really saying, so warning, as you have all of these ideas and all of this mental workings going on, and the Magician so wants to try and bring that down, into manifestation. He has the ability to do that, but it isn't yet all manifested. He has the initiation to do that. The Two of Swords is saying, well, you're actually going to be spending a period of time, a couple months from now, weighing things out. And so this is very heavy in thinking. These next 3 months, it's very heavy in thinking. And what I would tell this person is, perhaps you have something that you're trying to formulate, some concept, some plan that you're making, but you haven't yet actually figured out how to manifest it. So it's almost like the Magician is, his ability to then go to the next step of manifestation is going to be delayed, because now the person is really weighing everything again, and they're trying to figure out, well, what's right for me, with the moon being involved in this card. It's moon in Libra, so then you have to go within and weigh it out and say, well, am I on the right track? So there's going to be a little delay in actually making these ideas manifest, or really getting a sense or getting a handle on which way you want to move ahead, or how you want to move ahead. So just know that there's a ton of air energy swirling around for the next 3 months, but that manifestation is going to be a little behind, in terms of actually bringing those ideas down into real tangible results. So I would be talking to the person about what's going on in their life. What are they creating? What kind of project is going on? What are things like at work? Are you leading a group and then you're feeling like you can't actually put things into practice? Maybe it's not tangible yet in terms of like pentacle energy. So those are some ideas about those 3 cards. I hope you found that helpful. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching Tarot Living. Take care.